I am not the one to risk waking my sleeping baby to film content, but this message was just too important to not get off my chest right now. Now, as both a professional working in the trauma space and as someone who has her own personal history of healing from trauma, I can say that this is probably one of the biggest challenges that I faced and that I've seen my clients face in their recovery. And there's science that backs this up as well. But one of the greatest disruptors that I see is when people are healing from the place of self-hatred rather than from a place of self-love. And what do I mean by that? When we are intending or attempting to heal from a place of self-hatred, that's usually rooted in shame and this urgency to fix ourselves. Shame tells us that we are inherently bad, that there is something wrong with us, and that therefore we need to fix ourselves. When we are healing from a place of self-hatred and shame, it never feels like enough. No matter how much progress we make, no matter how many small or big wins we have, we will consistently and constantly pick ourselves apart, looking to the next modality, the next part of us that we need to fix. And when we chronically and consistently operate from this place of needing to urgently fix ourselves, it just heightens the alarm of the nervous system, which further activates our survival responses. This means that we get further stuck in states of survival, like fight, flight, shutdown, freeze, and fawn. This creates a vicious loop of symptoms being worsened, which then just creates even more self-hatred and shame. So if this is you, believe me, I get it, because it was once me. Just know that you make sense. This is your nervous system's way of trying to keep you chronically stuck in that state of survival, which is where it's most familiar and therefore where it's most comfortable. So now you're probably wondering, well, how do I lead with self-love? So I'm going to give you my 3C formula, which helped me in my own healing and the hundreds of clients that I've worked with over the years. And I'm going to break each one of these down. But the 3C's stand for curiosity, context, and compassion. Baby's gone, my arm fell asleep. So the first C is curiosity. Whenever you start to notice that you are shaming or maybe judging yourself for your behaviors, your thoughts, your feelings, instead of that criticism, can you get curious? Start to ask, well, why do I feel this way? Why did I respond that way? Now, this curiosity leads into the second C, which is context. And I'm going to give you an example here in just a second. But when you can start to get curious about your pattern behaviors, responses, and impulses, then you can start to have greater context about how your past experiences and traumas are showing up in your present day today. So maybe an example of this is that someone never responded to your text message and it created a lot of anxiety for you. And so instead of shaming yourself for the anxiety, you ask yourself, what is this anxiety trying to tell me? Where is this coming from? And the context that is given is that in your childhood, you were dismissed a lot. You were ignored, you were neglected. And having that context then creates the third C, which is compassion. By getting curious, giving yourself context, it creates moments of compassion where you can understand, like in this example, that that anxiety makes a lot of sense, that you in fact make sense, that there is nothing wrong with you, you are not broken, you do not need fixing, and that your body, brain, and nervous system are just trying to protect you in the ways that they've always known how. So instead of looking at these patterns, instead of looking at yourself as self-sabotaging, instead you can see yourself as self-protecting. And it's this compassion that leads to a lot more self-love, a lot less fixing, which over time leads to a more regulated nervous system and your ability to come out of those stuck states of survival.